A fruit fly can smell ripe, rotting fruit from over 4 miles away, drawn straight to the sugary scent of natural fermentation. And it turns out so can we, in a much older, much stranger way than most people realize. Long before breweries, before vineyards, before anyone ever intentionally fermented anything, something in the primate brain was already responding to the smell of alcohol, not as a warning, but as an invitation. So here's the real question. When did humans actually start drinking alcohol? Because the honest answer might not start with agriculture or civilization or even humans at all. It might start millions of years earlier in the branches of a forest with a completely different question our ancestors were really trying to answer. Where is the ripest fruit? The scent that meant food. In a dense forest canopy, ripe fruit is scattered and unpredictable, and finding it quickly, before it rots or gets eaten by something else, was a constant survival problem for early primates. But ripe fruit does something distinctive as it ages. Natural yeasts in the environment begin breaking down its sugars, and one of the very first chemical signals released in that process is a small amount of ethanol, the same molecule found in alcoholic drinks today. For a fruit-eating primate, that faint alcohol scent wasn't a warning sign, it was a beacon. It meant sugar, calories, and energy, broadcasting its location through the trees before the fruit was even visible. This wasn't a rare or occasional signal either. In tropical forests, fermenting fruit is available almost year-round, meaning any primate species able to detect and tolerate that scent gained a small but real advantage in an environment where finding enough calories every single day was a constant, unforgiving challenge. The drunken monkey hypothesis. This idea has an actual name in evolutionary biology. The drunken monkey hypothesis, proposed by biologist Robert Dudley. The theory suggests that our attraction to the smell and taste of alcohol isn't a modern cultural invention at all. It's an ancient survival instinct, inherited from fruit-eating ancestors who evolved, over millions of years, to associate the scent of ethanol with a reliable, high-calorie food source. In other words, when a modern human catches the smell of fermenting fruit or a glass of wine and feels a small, automatic pull toward it, that reaction may be tapping into circuitry that predates humanity itself, built for finding food in a forest that no longer exists. Dudley's hypothesis doesn't claim that ancient primates were routinely getting drunk in the treetops. The alcohol content in naturally fermenting fruit is typically very low, but even a faint scent was enough to reliably guide primates toward a genuinely valuable food source, and that reliability, repeated across millions of meals over millions of years, was more than enough for natural selection to act on. The gene that changed everything. There's hard genetic evidence backing this up. Around 10 million years ago, a mutation appeared in the gene responsible for producing an enzyme called ADH4, which breaks down ethanol in the body. That single mutation made the enzyme roughly 40 times more efficient at metabolizing alcohol than the version found in earlier primates. And this mutation appears in the shared genetic ancestor of humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas, the same lineages that started spending more time on the forest floor, eating fallen, overripe fruit loaded with natural fermentation, rather than only picking fresh fruit from the trees above. Orangutans, who stayed mostly in the canopy, never evolved the same efficient version of the gene at all. Researchers studying this mutation have pointed out something remarkable. It appeared right around the same time in the fossil record that our ancestors are believed to have shifted toward a more ground-based lifestyle, eating whatever fruit had already fallen rather than exclusively foraging fresh fruit above. In evolutionary terms, that's a striking coincidence. A genetic change appearing at almost exactly the moment it would have become useful. Before we continue, if this kind of question is the kind of thing you enjoy thinking about, consider subscribing and sharing this with someone who'd find it interesting too. Now let's keep going. Long before farming. So biologically, the relationship between primates and alcohol goes back millions of years, long before anyone farmed a single crop. But actual intentional fermentation, humans deliberately creating alcoholic drinks, is a much more recent story and still far older than most people assume. Wild yeast is everywhere in nature. Any container of honey, fruit, or grain left exposed to the right temperature and humidity will begin fermenting on its own with no human intervention required at all. Early humans almost certainly encountered naturally fermented honey, fruit, or grain long before they ever thought to recreate the process on purpose. Some researchers even suspect that early hominins may have deliberately sought out overripe, fermenting fruit specifically because of its stronger scent and higher sugar content, long before anyone understood why it smelled the way it did. The first recipe. The oldest solid archaeological evidence of intentional fermentation comes from Jiahu in China, dating back roughly 9,000 years. Chemical residue analysis of ancient pottery found at the site revealed traces of a fermented beverage made from rice, honey, and fruit, deliberately brewed, not accidentally discovered. That single discovery pushed the known history of alcohol production back thousands of years earlier than scientists had previously assumed, and it suggests that by the time humans were first domesticating crops, we were already skilled, intentional brewers, not just accidental beneficiaries of wild fermentation. This finding reshaped how historians think about the very beginning of intentional food and drink production, placing fermentation technology among humanity's earliest deliberate inventions developed independently in multiple regions of the world around similar times. Beer before bread? This timing has led some archaeologists to propose a genuinely controversial idea that early humans may have started cultivating grain partly to brew beer rather than purely to bake bread. It's still a debated hypothesis, not a settled fact, but the evidence is intriguing. Some of the earliest grain storage and processing tools found near early settlements show signs more consistent with fermentation than baking. Proponents of this idea point out that early cereal grains, when simply baked, produce fairly unappetizing bread, while the same grains, when allowed to ferment, produce something both nutritious and mood-altering, arguably a stronger incentive for the hard, sustained labor that early agriculture actually required. If even partially true, it would mean one of the most important turning points in human history, the invention of agriculture itself, may have been shaped in part by our ancient attraction to alcohol, Ninkasi and the sacred drink. By the time we reach ancient Sumer, around 1800 BCE, alcohol wasn't just present, it was sacred. The hymn to Ninkasi, dedicated to the Sumerian goddess of beer, is one of the oldest surviving written recipes in human history, describing the brewing process in careful, ritual detail. Beer in early Mesopotamia wasn't a recreational side note. It was safer to drink than untreated water in many settlements, nutritionally significant, and woven directly into religious ceremony and daily life. Physicians in several ancient societies even prescribed fermented drinks medicinally, and communal drinking rituals appear repeatedly across early civilizations on nearly every continent, suggesting the social and symbolic role of alcohol emerged independently again and again alongside its biological pull. What started as a chemical signal in a forest had become by then a cornerstone of civilization itself, an old signal. So when did humans start drinking alcohol? Culturally, the story stretches back roughly 9,000 years to careful brewers in ancient China. But biologically, the story is millions of years older, written into a single genetic mutation that let a forest-dwelling primate finally take advantage of the sugar hiding in fermenting fruit. The pull many people still feel toward the smell of something fermented isn't a modern weakness, and it isn't a modern invention either. It's an old signal, built for a world of trees and fallen fruit, still quietly running in a species that now drinks for entirely different reasons. Not to give you answers, to reveal the paradox. Every question has a story. Welcome to Human Mystery.